What up, world? You already know what time it is. Back with another episode of Successful Habits. I'm your favorite co-host, Podcast Pack, and as always, I'm here with the man with the plan himself, Coach D. West. What's going on with you today, Coach?
Man, I can't call it. How you doing?
Man, it's a good Friday. Well, it's Friday for us, but if you're watching the episode, it's Monday for you. But it's a good Friday, man. Excited to be off work for the next 2 weeks. Granted, the reason why I'm off work for the next 2 weeks ain't the best, but I'm excited to meet y'all up in Kentucky and spend some time with family, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I think, it's always good meeting up with family. I think it's time well spent. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. As always, we want to start the show off by thanking everybody who's been tuning in over these last couple weeks. Excited to say that today is episode 10. Oddly enough, 10 episodes deep, not many people really know, including us, especially when we first started out, all the things that go into making a podcast, man.
Thanks.
It's very, very time consuming, especially being a remote podcast. It's difficult to get, schedules lined up and things like that. And on top of that, we got to edit, post, make sure we keep social media engaged. So it's a lot of ins and outs to this podcast game, man. But I can honestly say, we blessed to be able to do things like this, and it's been fun so far for 10 episodes, man. What's your thoughts on the podcast journey so far?
Man, I think it's been pretty beneficial for the both of us, just being consistent, like we always talked about, just building that habit. That was the biggest thing when we started it. We wanted to stick with it. And I think as the show continues to goes on, we'll continue to get better. And I also think, it's reaching out to people. People are, giving positive feedback. And as the show continues to grow, we will continue to get better on our end as far as, marketing and doing the little things that
For
go into
sure.
podcasting. But I do think it is very beneficial to us and for the people that watch.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think like I said, the journey's been fun so far. I'm excited to kind of wrap up season one, get into season two when we start to have guests and things like that on the show. We still got a couple episodes left in season one, but like I said, I'm excited to start having guests and things like that on the show. So that's definitely a plus too. Without further ado, we can go ahead and get into the show today. So like I said, man, if you're watching this, it's Monday for you. Hopefully you tapped in on the way to work and on the way to school. You know what I mean? Hopefully you guys have a blessed week filled with successful habits. You know what I mean? Now before we get into the actual topic of the show, the majority of the topic of the show is going to be surrounding the majority of the conversation will probably be surrounding this ESPN top 100 NBA top 100 list that just came out a couple days ago.
And then
It
we see
has
lists starting to drop. It's about that time.
Yeah, it's about that
That
time.
time of the
So
year.
for sure, 100%. So basketball season right around the corner. So we got a lot of basketball stuff that we want to kind of get into today. But as always, I always like to start the show off with a basketball question, but it's not really, it's not anything specific. So my question for you is this: so there's a saying that you can typically tell a hooper just by looking at them. All right, would you agree
Yeah.
with that?
For the most part.
For the
For the
most
most
part,
part, I do.
yeah. In general, you can kind of tell a hooper when you look at them. So my question for you is this: what are some red flags and green flags as far as hoopers are concerned? So, like me, for example, now I'm talking about open runs, right? So when we go to open runs, if you show up to an open run with a jersey on, my boy, it's over with. Red flag, you're not getting on my team, bro. I can't trust you, especially if you got the jersey and shorts to match. So, what are some
Yeah.
like red flags and green flags for you when you walk into
Uh
a pickup session?
Man, I know for sure for me, man, it's gonna sound pretty simple, but you'll be surprised how many people don't do this. You gotta come to the hoop session with some hooping shoes, man. Like you, you can you can't be you can't be hooping in Air Force
You feel
Ones
Air
and
Max, you feel me?
Air Max and
Yeah,
nah,
man.
man. That's the most important thing for me, man. Is just you gotta come with some hooping shoes on,
I'm
man.
not gonna lie to you, man. The craziest pair of shoes I ever seen was a pair of Chucks, bro. This was like 2013. You ain't got no business in here with them on, man. But
Yeah, for
it's funny
sure.
because like so as soon as I seen the Chucks, I knew, oh, this a high energy guy right here. Like I
Yeah,
know
he a
if he,
defender.
if you
He's a
can't do
defender.
nothing else, you gonna
Yeah,
hound that basketball and every rebound coming out that
for
rim is
sure.
yours.
For sure.
So like, okay, so another example for a green flag would be, um, Hooper's got that walk. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see somebody walk in the gym, backpack on, with the slides on, with the shoes in their hand, you know what I'm saying? Headphone half on their head, and they got that walk about them just trying to peep out the scene. That's a green flag for me. You got any
Yeah.
green flags for you as far as hoopers are
Green
concerned?
flag for me, if you stretch before we about to hoop, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a green flag for me. That mean
yeah,
you
for sure.
serious, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
obviously done play high level ball, you
yeah, for sure.
stretching, you know, like not many people stretch,
Nah, I ain't
before
gonna
we
lie to
hoop.
you. Once upon a time, I was a walk in the gym and get straight on the court type
Walk
of
in the
hooper.
gym, get straight on the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I ain't gonna lie. If I don't stretch, I'm down for 4 days after the
Yeah.
hoop. I ain't gonna lie to you. Another red flag for me is if you walk in the gym with your hooping shoes already on your feet, brother. We in for one, man. I know you in here trying to get you some cardio in.
Shoes don't have no grip.
It don't got no grip. Also, too, like open runs, bro. If you got gear on, like shooting sleeve, headband, armband, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a red flag for me too, man. But yeah, I just wanted to pick your brain as far as red flags and green flags, as far as like just the optics of a hooper goes.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so not many people know. Well, I'm not gonna say not many people know, but if you don't know, we are from Jackson, Mississippi, so we went to Jackson Public School System. Recently, I think today, as a matter of fact, it was a homecoming for a couple of the high schools, specifically Provine, and I want to say Lanier's homecoming was today too. Um, but my question is, I feel like that Provine squad that you played for was one of the one of the best built basketball squads coming out of JPS. Now, like I say, man, not many people may have heard of JPS and the things that we do as far as Mississippi basketball is concerned, but y'all sent what? How many players did y'all send D1 that year that you graduated coming out of your class from just your team?
I think 3. Oh, me, JD, Marcus. The rest of them boy kind of went JUCO for real, for real.
Yeah.
Unless you count Roger them, unless we going back, like when I
Yeah,
first got
I would
there,
say your last 2 years. In
like
your last 2 years at Provine, how many people you think y'all sent D1?
probably like 5 or 6.
Yeah, it had to been like
Yeah, like
6,
5 or
man.
6. Yeah.
That's a solid program, man.
Oh yeah, for
Some
sure,
schools send 1 player D1
for sure.
every couple of years, you know what I mean? Y'all had a nice squad, y'all even had y'all also had some tough matchups. Like, I played against some big names, not just at Provine, but also when you went to Trinity, you played against people like Ben Simmons, you played against people like Malik Newman. Who would you say was your toughest matchup in high school?
Um, that's tough, but it got to be between Ben Simmons and Malik for sure. Both in different ways. Ben Simmons was kind of like a 6'9", fill the stat sheet type of guy,
Yeah.
super athletic, and Malik was just a bucket. So, but it got for sure got to be between those two.
Yeah, I think one of my most memorable games ever in JPS history for me personally, um, was probably y'all versus Callaway in the Pepsi tournament, man. I think that was probably the most legendary back and forth. I wish I could pull up the news segment that they did on y'all, because that back and forth that you and Malik had, I think that, in my
Yeah,
opinion, that
nah,
was
for sure.
legendary.
That wasn't even the Pepsi tournament that year. That was our only regular season meeting that year.
But you know what? I thought it was the Pepsi tournament because y'all played at Forest Hill, but
Yeah, for us here.
now I remember that was the only gym that could hold y'all, bro.
Yeah, we couldn't. Yeah, we
Yeah.
barely had home games my years in program.
Yeah, man, that says a lot about the program, how much I was winning, the type of basketball y'all was playing. So I just wanted to kind of touch on some home team stuff before we get into more of the episode.
Yeah, for
But
sure,
shout out to them boys, man. All the schools in JPS that had homecoming this weekend. You know what I mean? I think we had a lot of big names come out of JPS and go on to do big
yeah,
things, not just sports related, but even after sports. Dawson's a good example. You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
He has doctor in education. He wrote a book. He's an author now. So yeah, big things, big things.
And my coach went on to be a principal as well. He's a principal too.
Okay, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
Shout out to coach. Uh, so like I said, man, with basketball season right around the corner, we got a lot of things that I want to kind of get into today without trying to take up too much time from the people. So the first thing I want to talk about is college basketball. So college basketball is coming up. Is there anybody that you have your eyes on as far as schools are concerned, and also individual players?
man, I think college basketball is gonna be probably the best it's been most competitive wise. I think a lot of stacked teams because it's a lot of talent going in. But I specifically got my eyes on Kansas, and I'm gonna tell you why. So Kansas, they got an incoming freshman class, right? So Bill Self, everybody know the legendary
Yeah,
Bill Self.
for sure.
So he made a comment and he said this incoming freshman was the best freshman he ever recruited. That's big to say.
Yeah, from
That's
him,
tough to
yeah.
say for a couple reasons. Some of the names that he recruited goes as Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid, Devontae Graham, Josh Jackson, Chris Brown. Like these are some NBA guys'
Yeah,
names, and the player that he recruited, he's like I think 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", but he's like a bucket.
yeah.
Like
What's his
he
name?
like his name Darren Peterson. Darren Peterson, and yeah, so he's gonna be an incoming freshman for Bill Self to go on a limb to say he's the best player he ever recruited, and
That says a
for
lot.
a freshman to come in and kind of know that you're gonna be the guy, like he said it openly, like in the interview, like this team don't go far. Darren kind of takes us like he's the guy. I need these other guys around him to get better. That was Bill Self's words.
That's
So it's kind of
major.
like for an incoming freshman to earn this type of respect at a program that's won a national championship, that has done the highest level of basketball. It kind of says a lot about how good this kid really is.
Yeah,
So
I gotta see it.
I'm definitely gonna be tuned in on, how good he is for sure. And I watched him going into college, like his high school, and he looked different, to be honest with you. Like he
Yeah,
just, he's not 6'9" Cooper Flag, but he's like a 6'4" guard, but he can score in all three levels. He's high IQ,
that's
playmaking,
major.
ba- plays both ends of the floor. So, man, if for Bill himself to come out and say that, I think this kid has to be special.
Yeah, that's major. That's major. And for him to say that about a 6'4" guard in this era of basketball, that says a lot about that young man. So, hopefully that young man live up to these expectations, man. You know what I mean? I'm curious. Now you got me curious. I'm definitely gonna tap into some Kansas games. For people like myself who, last year was probably the most I had ever watched college basketball since I was in college myself. What kind of matchups do you like? Are there any notable matchups you want to see Kansas versus anybody specific that you know for sure is
Um,
going to be exciting?
Actually, let me pull up their schedule right quick and make sure, because whenever they play the SEC, it's always fun, especially
For
like going
sure.
against good coaches like Nate Oates from Alabama,
Hmm.
and just different coaches and I always love to see them play UConn.
Yeah,
Remember,
yeah,
UConn is always a
that's a good
battle.
test. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
test.
they play North Carolina this year, which is always a battle. Duke. Now Duke should have a pretty good team coming in. UConn, they got UConn December 2nd. I think that game is gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
The Baylor game is gonna be pretty. They got a lot of tough games on their schedule, man,
but
and that's what
yeah,
they got Houston February 23rd.
that's gonna be a good
Houston's
one.
gonna be loaded.
I think that'll be a good test for that young man.
Yeah, so I think, and then for him to come out and say this, knowing what type of schedule they're gonna play, I think that's kind of saying a lot about the kid. And I think he was, yeah, of course he was a McDonald's All American. He did the
Hmm.
highest things. But let me put you in a different perspective. Let's talk about this team in Houston. Houston has, I think, his first McDonald's All American the school has ever recruited. And
That's
man,
crazy.
and for them to reach the Final
And they
Four,
make yeah they make runs. They've been making
yeah, they
runs,
made
and that's
runs,
crazy.
especially under this new coach Kevin Sampson within the last within the last 5 6 years. So it's like, now they got their first big time recruiting class. It's kind of scary how they're gonna be. They did so much with what
I
they
love
have.
Kevin Sampson, bro. I love Kevin Sampson. I like the identity that his teams have, bro. It's hard nosed, nitty gritty, get in them basketball.
Yeah,
I think I seen a clip the other day on Twitter. Them boys during conditioning. Them boys running 5 minute miles, man.
5 minute
They own
mile.
you,
Yeah,
bro. They
yeah.
own you from first buzzer to the last one, bro. That's
I think
tough.
the highest limit was like what, 5:15, five
Like
twenty.
512, bro. I think
Yeah, yeah,
512 was.
for
I'm like,
sure,
bro, they is getting it, bro.
for
And
sure.
then not only are they conditioned to do that physically, but they also mentally conditioned to do that. Like they
Mentally,
Oh, they
Yeah,
diving on loose balls. They communicate when they're on the floor with each other. You know what I mean? They're calling out ball screens. They trapping things. They moving. They switching. They yeah. That's
I
a
think I think he's like the example of building a culture. Like he's like the
I agree.
example of setting a standard, and
Yeah.
holding yourself to their standard, and not
Yeah.
accepting anything under their standard. And like
Yeah.
I heard him say in a recent interview, he don't recruit kids just because they're good. He
Right.
recruits kids because their character, and he recruits kids who he think can play in Houston. Like because Houston has a different culture from everyone else.
Right. No, I agree with you, man. Like I said, I don't think it's been a long time since I've seen a college basketball team consistently have an identity like this, and then everybody 1 through 15, even the ball boy and the water boy, buy into the system
For
like
sure,
that. So I'm
for
excited to
sure.
see Houston. Who else you excited to watch in this upcoming season?
UConn for sure. They're always so creative. Their coach is like a genius
Mhm.
offensively, so it's always fun to watch him. Um, and I'm curious to see who's going to take the leap in the SEC. I know Florida has some big time recruits from the portal. They recruited some from the portal, but I always my other favorite is St. John. I think St. John plays with that
Yeah.
same intensity that Houston has. Under Rick Pitino, he's
Yeah,
a legend.
Patino. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just got Ian Jackson from North Carolina. So I think their guard room is gonna be stacked again with the return of guys that they have, man. They're gonna be tough because they're gonna guard you 94 feet the whole game. They're similar to Houston. They're
Yeah.
gonna be tough, they're gonna be gritty,
Yeah.
they're gonna do the dirty stuff. And I think, that exemplifies the type of coach he is as well.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Arkansas make that deep of a run. Granted, their coach is a Hall of Fame coach. I was excited to see I was, intrigued to see them, make that deep of a run. I think that I'm excited to see what they come back with this season. I think they were missing some um, outside presence as far as shooting the three. I think the same thing was true for St. John a little bit last season. But I'm excited to watch both of those teams as well. Like I said, last time we talked about college basketball, I want to see some more of Auburn. I know they lost a lot of seniors. They had a lot of upperclassmen last year, but in my opinion, the young man, Tahad Pettiford, he can go.
Yeah.
He can
And
go.
they
So
they gonna try to go on a run because Bruce Pearl just announced he was retiring.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
handing the torch over to his son, so
yeah.
I think that's gonna light a fire on for the season. But as far as Arkansas, I think the Arkansas move, especially with the portal and how it is now, like I think
Hmm.
that's a good move for Coach Cal. I think he's possible to go deeper in the playoffs because
Yeah,
it's just hard to win with freshmen. And like
yeah, yeah.
how the portal is now, you can recruit upperclassmen. It's just
Hmm.
hard to win with freshmen just because you're
Yeah.
going against seniors. It's hard to win with one and done players when you're playing against players who've been on this team for 3-4 years. Like they're
Yeah,
developed. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I
Not
think
only
the
that, you
portal
got
and
not only that, but you got the rule that they just changed as far as JUCO players are concerned, where now if you go from JUCO to D1, you keep all 4 of your years of eligibility. So
Mhm.
I think that that's gonna breed a whole new level of athletes that people coming in already with quote unquote college game experience. You know what I mean? So I think that that's major for sure, for sure. Any other specific players that you got your eyes on as far as college is concerned?
I want to see. I wouldn't call it a bounce back year, but I want to see the year that Ian Jackson is gonna have.
Mhm,
Because I think he's loaded with talent, and now he's
mhm.
in a Rick Pitino system, which will force him to not play hard because he already played hard, but it'll force him to come out of his shell that I think he was in. I think he was a freshman last year, it kind of showed, but
Mhm.
I still think he's a first round lottery type talent.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I'm curious to see what he'll do with under Rick Pitino. I think Rick Pitino will continue to evolve his game because as we seen with RJ Davis that he did with him last year. So
Mhm.
I think Ian Jackson will probably take that leap.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm definitely planning on I'm committed to watching a lot more NCAA basketball this season. Especially those marquee matchups. Our little brother Nino, he big on NCAA basketball too. So, I always pick his brain and tell him to give me some games to watch this week. So I definitely be tapped in to NCAA a lot more this year, for sure, for sure. But without further ado, man, let's get into some NBA stuff, man. NBA is also right around the corner. Super duper excited to to get this NBA season started. I think, even though the 2 teams that were in the finals last year were quote unquote small market teams, I think that for me personally, that was one of the more exciting finals that I have seen personally in a couple of years, man. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what kind of momentum, especially with all of the injuries. Hopefully all those players bounce back and come back strong. But especially with a lot of the superstars being out, we're about to see a lot of people get opportunities to showcase their game. Like for example, I know that unfortunately Fred Van Vliet just tore his ACL recently. Where do you think that leaves Houston as far as primary ball handler? What kind of moves would you make if you were Ime? Who you gonna put on your ball, man?
I think it'll force the twin to take a leap kind of at their position. Um, I think I know Kevin Durant could kind of temporarily play the one, but I do think you do need a true PG.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how deep their two way or their G League stats go, but I know they have the rookie they recruited from Kentucky was
Reed.
Reed. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it'll force Reed to kind of step up as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what kind of offense that Ime can come up with Twin at the one. I think Twin would be great at the PG spot because I mean, honestly, whenever they were playing in the OTE league, they were, in my opinion, primary ball handlers anyway, both of them. So I'm excited to see what kind of schemes they come up with now that Fred Van Vliet went down. Um, yeah, speaking of excitement, so over the years we've had a lot of really, really exciting teams come and go. I know last year I would consider the Pacers a really exciting team to watch, just based on their style of basketball. I would also consider OKC an exciting team to watch whenever they really get into that two-way aspect of their team. Some other notable exciting teams to watch from just history period was uh, the Splash Brothers when they were on their come up, Lob City with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. So my question is this: who do you think out of those two, the Splash Brothers and Lob City, which one do you think was more exciting in your opinion?
I think for me, it'd be Splash Brothers.
Think
Just
so?
because I'm a shooter, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of biased, but man, I think they just people called Mark Cuban crazy when he said I got the best backcourt
Mark
ever.
Jackson. Yeah.
Mark Jackson, my bad.
Yeah.
I said Mark Cuban. I'm thinking of
Yeah.
Dallas, but Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson said he said I got the best shooting backcourt in the history of the game, and people
Yeah.
were making memes out of it, like
Yeah.
and
For
and
sure.
he turned out to be right. So
I'm
man, I
not
think that's
arguing
the
with
most exciting
you.
for me.
I'm not arguing with you and saying that you're wrong, but man, what Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan used to do to people when in Live City, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But I really think that team could have made a run if not for the Splash Brothers. Warriors, LeBron James and the Warriors really, really ruined a lot of people's legacies. Well, I ain't gonna say ruin, but they stopped a lot of people from achieving
Did the
those
Clippers
accolades.
lose to the Warriors?
The
The Splash
nah, the
Brothers?
Clippers, the Lob City Clippers. It was either the Warriors or it was the Spurs. It was
Yeah,
they pretty much took turns running the West at that time. We
yeah,
all knew who was coming out the East. Whatever team LeBron James played for, they was coming out the East. But the Spurs and the Warriors had a run where it was one of those two coming out the West every year, pretty much. So I think that not just the Clippers though. James Harden had bad luck having to deal
yeah,
with
for
that
sure.
with
And
those
so,
Warriors teams.
so when Chris Paul so they lost. Dallas came out the West in 2011. That's the year they beat LeBron in the final.
That was Dirk. Yep.
That was dirt. Oklahoma came out 2012. That's when
Yep.
Durant, Westbrook, and Harden came out.
Yep. Yep.
Then you had Spurs
They
13,
was too young for
14.
that. Yeah, they were too
Yeah,
young for that moment. Yeah.
they had
Then the
Spurs
Spurs.
13, 14. And they
Mm-hmm.
had Warriors 15, 16, 17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, like I say, man, them Spurs and them Warriors, man, they really had the West sold up for a good minute, man.
yeah,
And like I was saying, man, you got people like James Harden who, is I want to throw him in the GOAT conversation, but anytime you do, obviously you already know what the first thing is gonna
yeah,
come up is, does he have a ring? No, he don't. You know what I mean? So the Warriors, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and all the supporting cast, they did a good job putting a stop to a lot of people's legacy.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But so a little bit more about the NBA as far as as we get into next season. ESPN just recently dropped the top 100 NBA players going into the 2025-2026 season. So like I said before, this is probably where the next 10, 15 minutes of this conversation is going to be surrounding because the list is interesting. So I'm gonna pull up the list on the screen here. Now the list that I have, there wasn't an actual graphic for that the ESPN made or anything like that for the list. So this graphic right here, this is the list, but somebody on Twitter put it together and they added plus minuses into the list. Um here's the ESPN 2025-2026 top 100 NBA players. So I'm gonna run you down these top 10 real quick. And let me know how you feel about the top 10 first, if anybody needs to be moved up or moved down, or maybe moved out of the top 10 for somebody else. All right. So, number one, best player in the world, according to ESPN, the Joker, Nikola Jokic.
Hmm.
Can't argue with that. We already said once before, Jokic is the best player in basketball, period. Number two, SGA. Number three, Luca. Number four, Greek Freak. Number five, and this one's tough. Wemby. Number six, Ant Man. Number seven, Curry. Number eight, LeBron. Number nine, Kevin Durant. And number 10, which kind of surprised me, but I ain't mad at it, Jalen Brunson. So let's talk about this top 10. Like
That's
it,
a
like it, love it or hate it.
I can respect it. I can respect it. When Wimby was out there, he definitely one of the best in the world. That was evident. Like that was clear. He changed the games on both ends of the floor. So I'm not mad at that. There's really no one outside of this top 10 coming into this year. Of course, Tatum is hurt.
Right.
You have a couple of
Hallie's
injuries.
hurt. Yeah.
Atlas hurt. You have a couple of injuries. I'm not mad at the Brunson being number 10. I can respect that. He's coming off two back-to-back good seasons. So it's no one that I can see that I would, kind of make the argument for. I would make it for either um Jalen Williams is a good argument. I guess you can make the argument with that. But top 10 in the NBA, I think that's a stretch.
Right.
I think that's a stretch. Yeah, I don't see anyone that I'll bump up over Brunson. So Wemby,
So
think
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I think Wemby's in a pretty good space. I
Do you
just
think he's top five?
that's tough. I want to see a little more of him. I want to see a little more of
I
him.
agree. I
He's
agree.
definitely top 10. I'm not mad at 5, but I just would like to see a little more of him if I was doing the list.
Yeah. Yeah, for me personally, like I'm with you on that one. I think that Wemby's definitely top 10. In order for me to say he's top 5, I need to see a little bit more of him playing inside the three-point line. Now, I'm not saying back to the basket, drop stepping folks. No, I'm not saying that. But I also don't want to see my 7'4" alien chucking 40-foot three-pointers. I definitely don't want to see that. I think he averaged almost double digit threes per game attempts last season. Which I mean, yes, that's the direction basketball is going into, but at 7'4", I just want to see more of him inside the perimeter. For me to say he's top 5. He definitely top 10. I would probably swap him and KD out if it was me personally. As far as, based on I don't want to say impact to the game. I would say based on how easy Kevin Durant just does everything Kevin Durant does is just easy, bro. Not saying that Wemby looks like he's struggling out there by any means, but like I said, I want to see more. I think KD's more of a complete player at this point in his career than Wemby is. That's my opinion, though. I think
Yeah,
some
I can
noticeable. Go ahead.
respect that. I know I can respect that.
Yeah. I definitely agree with the top 4, Jokic, SGA, Luca, and Greek Freak, Giannis. Definitely can't argue with that at all. I like the order that they're in. I think one crazy thing on this particular graphic, is so like I said, the guy on Twitter who made the graphic, he added plus minuses in there. I don't know if you can see it, but SGA's plus minus is 918, bro. That means he is killing it on both ends of the floor. Jokic plus minus is 594. SGA plus minus is almost double that. So I thought that was a crazy thing whenever I first seen it was like that young man got. I don't think we could put a ceiling on him.
Yeah, that's
Do
tough.
you
That's tough.
do you think do you think Ant Man can take another leap this season and push his way into the top 5 in the NBA?
I think he can. I think the
What do you need to
system.
see from him to what do you need to see from him to for him to get in there?
I want to see him be consistent in the playoff as far as making shots.
Mhm.
I think he had a lot
Mhm.
of, drop off games. I would
Mhm.
want him to make that leap just as far as carrying his team. He's clearly got superstar potential. He's clearly a superstar. He's clearly one of the best guards in the NBA. He just, in the postseason where people are doubling you, people are, making defensive adjustments to try to slow
Mhm.
you down. I would want to see that leap as far as being able to take that team to the next level. Because if you look at the list, and with everyone that he's surrounded by on this list, you can make the argument that they have done that. Steph Curry has elevated his team. LeBron, of
Yep.
course, has elevated his team. Durant
Yep.
has elevated his team. Giannis has elevated his team. Luka elevated his team. SGA, Joker, same thing. So the two names that just stand out will be Wemby and Ant. Those are the
I agree.
two. But like we said, this list is going into this season. I'm guessing it's based
Right.
off last season and not a
I'm
career
pretty sure,
standpoint.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so I would just, but for me, looking, what I want to see from him, it would definitely be postseason, just production.
Mhm. I agree with you. And I think, for me, I think Wemby and Ant are both missing the same thing as far as becoming that unstoppable force. I think that they both need I don't want to say a go-to move, but you got to have that a spot that you get to every single like when in doubt, I'm gonna get to this spot and I know it's good. I mean, I think everybody in the top 10 has one of those. Like we know SGA is getting to the midi. Jokic doesn't necessarily have a spot, but inside the paint, he's shooting like 80%. So essentially, he has a spot that he gets to. Luca, we know he trying to play big body. He trying to get to the elbow, or he trying to shoot him a step back three, something like that. Curry, Curry is best shooter ever. LeBron is always gonna be his 6'8" big body athleticism. Durant is a mid range monster. When in doubt, he gonna get to the elbow and get his shots off. We all know what Brunson gonna do. When in doubt, he's gonna get into the midi and his footwork is gonna carry him. I think Ant and Wemby are missing that particular thing about them that we can say, yeah, I know for sure this is what he going to. But so that was the top 10. I think if we go from 11 to 30 ish, I think that's where things really start to get interesting. So number 11, J Dub. Number 12, Cade Cunningham. 13, Evan Mobley. Then you got Anthony Davis. Then you got Spider at 15. You got D Book at 16. You got P5 at 17. You got Jimmy Buckets at 18, Jalen Brown at 19, and Kawhi at 20. We'll just stay right there and let's talk about this 11 through 20. So I'll go ahead and start. Me personally, give me P5 over K. Just right now, currently, give me P5 over K.
I can respect that.
And I say that because P5, I mean, granted, they both took the leap this last season, and I still want to see it again from both of them. But P5 was on his way to taking the leap, got injured, was out for like, I want to say 10 weeks, came back like he ain't miss a step. So I think, in my opinion, that shows he's battle tested as far as that goes. Now, not saying
Yeah,
Cade is,
I'm gonna be honest though. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not comfortable with AD being under Cade and Jalen Williams. I'm sorry.
hey, look,
I'm not
I agree
comfortable
with
with
you,
that.
bro.
I'm not
Would you,
comfortable with that.
do you think he's 11 through 20 or would you slide him on into that number 10 spot?
I think 10 and 11. I'm gonna say 10 through 12. He should be somewhere in there. He should not be under Jalen Williams and Cade. But I'm trying to put in perspective that it's from last season. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But I mean, look what he was doing last season, 40 and 20. Like, look at the things that he doing. I think Anthony Davis, he has this social media image to him that people think
Yeah.
that he doesn't do anything. But man, go look
Yeah.
up the numbers. Go
Yeah.
look up some numbers from Anthony Davis, man. He's clearly one of the
When he on
best
the
in the
court,
world.
yeah, when he's on the court, they're a different team. I think
Yeah,
a big part of it too is like, he spent a lot of time not playing last season
yeah,
too,
for sure,
especially
for sure.
especially after the trade, you know what I mean? We seen him, have a spark in the first half for his first game after the trade, and then, his injuries kind of caught up to him a bit.
Yeah, I can see that. So I can see that.
Yeah, but I definitely agree with you. I would never have AD below J Dub, Cade, Evan Mobley, not at this point in his career and also at this point in their career. I agree with you. And to be honest with you, bro, I feel the same way about Spider. I feel the same way about Donovan Mitchell. Like I don't think he is I don't think Cade is better than Donovan Mitchell. I don't think Evan Mobley is better than Donovan Mitchell. I think maybe Evan Mobley might impact the game a bit more. But I think that as far as the engine that makes the team go, I think Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, needs to be moved up a couple spots too.
I can get with that.
And if I'm saying Donovan Mitchell need to move up, then we gotta move Devin Booker up. We gotta move Devin Booker up. But granted, this is based off last season going into this next season, and the Suns got a lot of work to do before we can say they got any hopes of making it out of the first round. I don't even know if they're
Yeah,
gonna make it to the first round. They missed the playoffs last year.
yeah. It's gonna be
Um,
an uphill battle, but I think they got a chance to be pretty sneaky though.
yeah, definitely,
They got a
definitely.
lot of
But
stuff to prove.
yeah, but in terms of the younger crew, I would probably swap out P5 and Cade. I would keep Evan Mobley. I think P5 and Evan Mobley are in my opinion a little bit better than Cade. I like Cade's game. It's slow, it's methodical. He gets his spots. He gets his team involved, but I think that P5 just is such a force, and Evan Mobley plays. He does so well on both sides of the ball now that I got to give him the nod, man.
Yeah,
Uh, Obviously, you got 18, 19, and 20, Jimmy Butler, Jalen Brown, and Kawhi. I know last time we talked about Jalen Brown, you was high on him going into the next season as being option one.
yeah,
I agree with you. A healthy Kawhi, he easily top five in the league, but I think at this point in Kawhi's career, honestly, if I'm being honest, I can't even give him top 20, man. The best ability is availability, man. If you ain't gonna play, I can't put you in the top 20, man.
yeah. He for sure
No,
gotta play.
no disrespect to him because he's a machine. When he's on the court, you can't tell that he was never on the that he had been off the court for so long.
For
But
sure.
yeah, so definitely don't want to go over the whole entire list, but we'll go a couple more spots 10 at a time because there are some interesting names on here. So we'll go 21 through 30 next. So we got 21, we got Bam. 22, we got Siakam. 23, we got Harden. 24, we got Chet. 25, we got Sengun. 26, we got Derek White. 27, we got Cat. 28, we got Maxi. 29, we got Trey Young. And 30, we got Scotty Barnes. So my question for you is this: Cat, does he deserve to be below these names like Chet Holmgren and Sengun?
I'm looking at him and Derek White. I understand, what Derek White brings to the table as far as
Yeah,
impact winning. When it comes to impact winning, but when we talk about individual players, is he
right.
more valuable than Cat?
I don't know, man.
That's
He plug and play. He's plug and
yeah.
play. You can put him in anywhere. You can ask him to do anything. I ain't mad at that though.
Bam, Siakam. I kind of can get with Harden, of course. Chet, I like what Chet bring defensively. I understand Cat is not the best defensively, so okay, Alpo. Okay, I'm not too bad at that. I can live with that. I can live with it.
Nah,
I'm
okay.
not
So
too
I ain't
bad
gonna
at
lie
it.
to you, man. I'm not taking Chet or Alpo over Cat. Can't do it.
I think the
Chet,
reason that Chet got the nod, he was better defensively. Like he
he
actually
was better
challenged you at the
defensively.
rim. Cat was kind of a liability in that last Knicks series.
He was a liability defensively, but Cat can put that ball in that bucket. And yes, Chet was a very important piece as far as the Oklahoma City Thunder's win in their championship, and he played great defense. But offensively, he did not have the best playoff run offensively. Like there were times where he shot pretty bad from the field. Now, granted, it was his first time in that sort of environment. Sometimes the light get a little bright, but that's all the more reason why I would take Cat over Chet. And I think Appy he got a ways to go. Like I'm definitely taking Chet and Cat over Appy for sure. For sure. That's me
Yeah,
personally.
I can give it that.
Now, 28 and 29 are interesting to me. What you think about 28 and 29? So we got 28, we got Maxi, 29, we got Trey.
Maxi and Trey. I know Maxi missed so much time, so I think that's the knock on him. Because it's from last year. I'm assuming,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Trey kind of was off and on as far as playing wise, but I think they're as far as last year goes. I think they're in a good spot, and I think next year they'll be a little higher. I think both of them had good years this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm high on Maxi. As one of the better point guards in the NBA, I'm high on him. He has that quick first step. He can shoot it. He can get to the cup, finish over taller defenders, that kind of stuff. Trey can too. I think I lean more towards Trey over Maxi just because I know I know Trey gonna end up having a better season in terms of being able to lead his team somewhere that I don't think the 76ers can go. So I would take Trey over Maxey just off of that. Um, but all right, cool. So that was 21 through 30. 30 through 40. We got or 31 through 40. We got Jaren Jackson at 31. Hans Wagner at 32. We got Ja at 33. On this at 34. Fox at 35. Rock at 36. Aman Thompson at 37. DG at 38, Desmond Bain at 39, Aaron Gordon at 40. Any thoughts as far as that little 10 right there?
Nah, I
You,
want Ja to have a bounce back year. I want him to come back and
no.
and jump this
You like
list because he
Ja over
got
D Fox?
um. That's tough. Think you can't go wrong either way, but I think Ja has superstar talent.
I agree.
So I would stay. He just had a lot of situations going on, but I think he got a chance to. I think he can crack this top 20. I think he has a talent to crack that top 20.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. I agree with you. Honestly, I think I don't know, man. I'm high on Thompson twin, bro. I'm high on the man Thompson, man. I like him over people like Jaren Jackson. It's hard for me to put him over Franz Wagner because him and P5 got a great dynamic going. Both of them can go. So it's hard for me to put him over Franz. I like it's hard for me to put him over Sabonis too, because Sabonis really be carrying. But I definitely got Thompson twin over Zubac. I probably got Thompson twin over Jaren Jackson too. But other than that, I mean, I think that 10 is pretty solid as far as ranking goes. I
Yeah.
really want to get to the 51 through 60, but we'll stop off right here at the 40 through 50 real quick. So 41, we got OG. 42, we got Julius Randle. 43, we got Laurie Markkinen. 44, we got Jalen Johnson. 45, we got Jared Allen. 46, we got Jamal Murray. 47, we got Joel Embiid. 48, we got Mikal Bridges. 49, we got Rudy Gobert. 50, we got Porzingis. Any thoughts on that 10 right there?
Not too many thoughts. Not too many thoughts. I think that's pretty. That's all right.
All right,
Anybody you'd
well,
like to move out?
I'm yeah, for sure. And listen, man, I
Rudy
know
Gobert.
look.
I knew that was
Look,
coming.
man, I swear to you, this is not disrespect, but Rudy Gobert is not better than 50 other players, bro. The 50 players, the other 50 players on this list, bro. He's not better than the other 50 players on this list. Defensively, maybe.
I can get with that. I'm just kind of like when I'm looking at these rankings, I'm trying to put in perspective that whoever did the rankings is not just thinking about one side of the floor. So I'm assuming that his defense outweighs what these other guys bring offensively. So that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, his defense, the numbers say he plays good defense. But for me, the eye test, they don't look too good, man. You got people hunting him on matchups. You know,
Let me ask you this.
go ahead.
Out of the okay, so who would you put in? Who would you put in for him that's not already in?
Um, at his position or just in
Now,
general?
you if you need someone to fill that gap, like you take him out, who would you put in?
Oh, Brandon Ingram. I definitely take Brandon Ingram over Rudy
Based off
Gobert.
last season, he was hurt most of the season.
Yeah, he was hurt most of the season, and honestly, that's probably one of the reasons why I might get
He's
some
not in there.
flack.
Yeah.
Yeah, some flack for that. But I would say Brandon Ingram. I would say, honestly, I like. Excuse me. Honestly, I like Miles Turner. I like Miles Turner to slide in there. He
Okay.
had a
I
good
can give
year.
it that. I can give it that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you who
Um.
my sleeper is, and
Okay.
it's tough to say top 50, but if we talking about plug, I like Trey Murphy, man. Trey Murphy's gonna be tough.
Hey, I ain't mad at that.
Trey
I
Murphy
ain't
gonna be
mad at that.
tough, man.
I think Trey Murphy was on his way to taking the leap last season. I would be surprised if he don't completely take the leap this season. So I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that at all. I would even if I'm and this might be a hot take, but I take AR-15 to take Rudy Gobert's spot. I take AR-15. I mean, granted, he not a two-way player, but I mean, neither is Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert play one side of the court, and AR-15 has some big moments and some big games.
You can make that argument,
And it's not like he's a defensive liability, whereas, when Gobert is on the floor, it's, the defense sags heavy. You
right?
know what I mean? So, that's just me. I ain't gonna spend too much time talking about Rudy Gobert before we get too deep into the weeds. But that's just my thoughts. If I had to move anybody out, it'll probably be him from that particular list. Everybody else though, I pretty much like their position. I like Larry Markkinen for sure. I think he need to find him. I think a team need to go and figure out what they need to do to go get him from Utah for sure, for sure. But we'll go through this next 10 real quick just so we can get to the wrap up of the episode before we take up too much of the time. But the reason why I wanted to get to this next 10 is because number 51 is Draymond Green. Number 52 is Cooper Flag without playing a single second of NBA basketball. Number 53 is Alex Caruso. Number 54 is PG-13. 55 Dyson Daniels. 56 Isaiah Hardenstein. 57 Miles Turner. 58 Trey Murphy. 59 Jalen Suggs. And 60 AR-15. So let's talk about it.
You know I don't like when they do that. You know I don't like when they do that.
Yeah, I can't believe they try to slide him in there at 52. Like nobody was gonna care about 52. Like, come on
They
now, let's
they
not do that,
always
man.
do this. I hate when
Yeah,
I'm high on Cooper Flag as well, but it's just I hate when they do this.
yeah. I'm
When
with you,
they
man. I
put
think
it's so much pressure on him, and then
they did the
asking him to
same thing
come
with
be better
Wemby.
than huh?
They did the same thing with Wemby, but
For sure, for sure.
yeah,
It's just just let him be who he gonna be. Like don't
yeah,
put him in the rankings already.
yeah. Like, there's no way we saying he already projected to be better than Paul George, Caruso, Trey Murphy,
Hmm.
AR-15, players like that already going into his very first NBA season. Do I expect him to be great in the system? Of course, for sure, for sure. I think they got a good system going on over there. Good head coach, good supporting cast. Kyrie looked good. I don't know if you've been seeing Kyrie workout videos recently.
Yeah,
But I would say he's way ahead of schedule as far as recovering from his ACL tear. So no, but so I think that Cooper Flag's in a good predicament, but I can't put him at 52, not yet. I can't even put him in the top 100 yet. But yeah,
I
so
agree.
that's really why I wanted to get into that specific part of the ESPN top 100 NBA players list. Obviously, the rest of the list can go either way. I think Brandon Ingram kind of got pushed a little bit too far to the side. He's number 77 on the list.
I think that's
But
just because of
granted,
injury though. I'm hoping.
yeah, I- Yes, but then you got people like Anthony Davis
Joel
who's at
Embiid,
14, you know what I mean? Joel Embiid didn't how many I don't even know how many games Embiid played last season. He's at 47, so,
right,
I
right.
would just I don't know, I need to talk to the people at ESPN and try to figure out what was the criteria for this list when y'all put this list together.
For sure.
So some other noticeable, quote unquote, disrespectful spots is Zach Levine at 72. I think that's disrespectful. Norman Powell at 82 after the season that he had. I think that's disrespectful. Do I think he's top 50? Maybe not, but 82 is kind of crazy. Other than that, I think everybody else on the list is pretty. I can live with their spot on the list. What you say? Anybody
I
on the
can live
list
with
you
that as
see
well.
just out. Oh, they got DeMar DeRozan at 80. I know Jig would be hot about that one. Yeah, no, but that's our ESPN 2025-2026 NBA top 100 players list. When I seen the list, immediately I said, "Yeah, we got to talk about this." Um, but yeah, so obviously, like I said, man, we got a lot of names, a lot of good players going into the 2025-2026 season. But without further ado, man, we definitely don't want to take up too much of y'all time on this good Monday. So as we get into the wrap up of the show, I leave y'all with these words, man. Always, 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 always make time for your people, man. Time is precious. The money you can always get back. I know a lot of time we find ourselves getting caught up in the grind, the day to day grind of things, whether it be you grinding for a purpose or you just out here trying to get you some money. I get it. Money is important. In order for you to live your life. You know what I'm saying? Aids and trying to get that promotion at work is important. Trying to get that spot on the team is important. But don't ever let it overshadow, the time that you spend with your people, your family, your friends, and things like that. You know what I mean? Because trust me, once when the time when you don't have time to spend with them anymore, when they're gone, you're gonna wish you could have that time back, and it ain't no turning back the clocks. So if I gotta leave y'all with anything at the end of this episode, my thoughts are make sure that you make time for your people this week. Obviously, I always want y'all to stay locked in, stay focused, stay consistently practice those successful habits, but add add into your list of successful habits, make time for your friends and your family. What about you, coach? You got anything to say to these people before we let them go?
Man, not too much. If you're watching this episode, I hope you get out to a great start of your week. Make sure you share this episode, like it, comment, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you all for the support. We appreciate you all for tuning in every week. We hope you have a great week. Um, and hope you work towards a goal this week. Hope you continue to grow as a person, as a leader, whatever it is you're doing. Hope you continue to grow and just prosper with us over here at Successful Habits Pod.
For sure, for sure. And as always, make sure you turn them noties on so you get alerted every time we drop an episode. And on behalf of the Successful Habits Pod, we out.
Yeah.